I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening and welcome to our guests. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Larraba. Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Mayor Milanazzo.
Here.
Mr. Conway.
Here.
Ms. Doherty.
Here.
7 present.
Special order of business, hearing none. Minutes, we have the minutes of the regular meeting of January 5th, 2011. Chair recognizes Ms. Doherty.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to ask that we defer acceptance of these minutes and give the clerk an opportunity to view the videotape of the meeting, because there were a couple of points that I made in my discussion that I didn't feel were completely represented in the minutes, and I apologize for extra work for her, but I think it is important.
Motion by Ms. Doherty to delay action, second by Mr. Leary. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Larraba. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Milanazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Thank you.
Deferral approved.
We don't have any permission to enter items this evening. Under memorials, committee as a whole, I would ask we rise in a moment of silence in darkened chambers for William R. Droll, Lowell School Committee member, in which he served 3 terms from 1956 to 1962. Vivian Smart, mother of Patricia Fuller, early childhood parent liaison. And if I could, Ms. Martin asked that we please remember Mary Sampis, a longtime columnist from the Lowell Sun, mother of Marina and Shell, and mother-in-law to Peter Shell. So if we could rise. Thank you. Thank you. Any unfinished business, public participation? Moving on right to the motions. First motion by Ms. Doherty, request the superintendent work with the law department to provide a report on the number, status, and cost of school employees on workers' compensation, as well as any recommended improvements. Second by Mr. Leary. Ms. Doherty.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think the motion pretty much speaks for itself. I know that the city has been able to find significant savings by looking at this particular area. Also in terms of reducing the amount of time that people are out. So I thought that in the effort of, the fiscal crisis that we're in, it's another way for us to be looking to save money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Second motion by Mr. Leahy, request the superintendent provide a report from Aramark to the Committee on the Food Service Department transition. The report should list changes, improvements, and an updated menu that complies with the federal and state standards. Second by Mr. Leary. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could just see how the transition's going, and the motion speaks for itself, so just the report should have what changes were made, what improvements have been made, and how people are accepting it and how well it's working. Hopefully it's working well, and the list of the menu, because I guess over the years, and I think even this year now, the federal and state mandates have changed for the food, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leary.
Thank you. And I could timely motion, as we've been involved with a new program for several months. Just a quick question through you to the superintendent or to the assistant superintendent. How long have we been into this contract, and do we have to renegotiate it at the end of this year, or is it the following year?
Madam Superintendent.
If you don't mind, I'll ask Assistant Superintendent Lang just to address the length of the contract.
Sure. The food service contracts by state regulations are awarded for a 1-year period at a time. With we bid the contract with a guaranteed 1 year, which is this year, and we have 2 optional years to exercise at our discretion. So we'll take a look at where we stand is March or April and make a decision to extend a contract for year 2, and then we do the same process again the following spring for year 3. So we bid it as 1 year guarantee with 2 optional years. So technically 3 year, but we have the discretion over years 2 and 3.
Just a quick question to follow up through you, through the superintendent to assistant superintendent. I guess, can you make changes to that contract? Or, I mean, as you renew it, or is it the same amount of savings anticipated? Can either side bargain further, or is it?
No, it's part of the bid. They actually bid on what the pricing would be ahead of time for years 2 and 3. So we actually just need to evaluate that and see if that's in our best interest. And then if we decide to execute the contract, we know what the terms are going to be. So that's something I'll be going through this spring.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed to the vote. Moving on to subcommittee reports. The first subcommittee report is the Technology Subcommittee. Approval of the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, January 5th. Chair recognizes Mr. Leahy.
I guess we just need approval. We went over the report last week. So if there's no questions, we can approve it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Leahy, second by Mr. Conway, that the minutes of this Technology Subcommittee meeting be approved as presented. Mr. Leary?
Just a quick question regarding an issue regarding, we had discussions regarding getting lists from each school pertaining to what type of technology equipment that they need, what they currently had. Do we have, the time frame here was kind of open-ended. Do we have a time frame where we would get this information? I thought maybe at the end of January we could have this information. Not that we actually could purchase the equipment, but to get the idea of what we need, what we have, so we can go out and find the resources, whether it be grants or outside, business groups, what have you. I think it was kind of open-ended. I don't know if we could put a timeline to it. If we can't, if it's not something you can do now, let's give you an idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Superintendent?
I'll take it under advisement with the cabinet, and if we can't meet the January 31st, I'll come back with what the timeline is and the reason why.
Any other questions on the minutes as presented? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Thank you. Lowell High School Subcommittee report of the meeting held this evening, January 19th. Chair recognizes Ms. Doherty.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, the Lowell High Subcommittee did meet tonight. Present were my subcommittee members, myself and subcommittee members, Mr. Conway and Ms. Larraba. Also present was the entire school committee, Ms. Martin, Mr. Leahy, Mr. Leary, and Mayor Milanazzo. From the school department, we had Superintendent Scott, Headmaster Rose Merrick, and Deputy Superintendent Jean Franco. We basically had one item on the agenda, and that was to discuss guidance concerns at the high school. As my colleagues know, we've made a number of cuts to the high school, and specifically in guidance the last few years. In addition to that, we are currently down 2 guidance members. So there was some discussion about whether student services students are being serviced in a timely manner, specifically our seniors who are, under a lot of pressure to meet college deadlines and things like that. We also had, we had 2 parents from the Friends of Lowell High School in attendance, Mrs. Silk and Mrs. Raymond, and they also discussed from the parent perspective how difficult it is for many parents to speak up and have their concerns addressed, and how they really wanted to work more closely with the headmaster and with the members of the school committee. So I felt it was a very good opening meeting to talk about some of the concerns around guidance and some of the ways that the high school hopes to move forward with the guidance issue in particular. So one of the things that we will meet again when the headmaster has an opportunity to really look at how do we measure success for our guidance department in terms of tracking the number of transcripts that are sent out for students and whether we meet those timelines. Do we need more professional development for the guidance counselors who are in place at the high school? It was also conveyed to us that we have brought on a new guidance counselor. I believe it was someone who was with the system before, who's been brought back to help with the gap now because we're down 2. And so we'll be getting a follow-up report when the headmaster has an opportunity to pull that stuff together for us. But basically, the meeting ended just shortly before 7 o'clock. It began at 6. And I don't know if any of my colleagues want to make any points, but I would just say that we had a motion by Ms. Larraba to accept the report as a report of progress, and seconded by Mr. Conway.
Any further discussion? Motion to accept the minutes of the high school subcommittee as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Actually, motion by Mr. Leahy, second by Ms. Larraba. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? To vote. Thank you. Reports of the superintendent. New business. We have just one convention and conference request. We have a request from Ms. Claire Abrams, K-12 Math Coordinator, Dr. Phyllis Schlichter, K-12 English Language Arts Coordinator, Jeffrey Guazda, District Math Support Specialist, Deborah Romeo, Adolescent Literacy District Specialist, Susan Karoma, ELL District Support Specialist, Janine Durkin, Lowell High School Freshman Academy Director, Dr. Wendy Jack, Lowell High School Curriculum Director, Steve Gross, Robinson School Principal, Brenda Buster, and Sheila Brisson, Robinson School Staff, to attend a seminar focusing curriculum mapping, a school-wide plan for integrating curriculum and assessment for grades K through 12, to be held on Thursday, January 27th and Friday, January 28th in Manchester, New Hampshire. The cost of $2,552 will be funded by the Title I grant funds. No substitute teachers are needed. What's the wish of the committee? Motion to approve by Mr. Leahy, second by Ms. Larraba. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Larraba. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Milonazo.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Thank you. Under communications, we have three very nice thank you letters addressed to Dr. Scott from the Greenhouse, regarding the Greenhouse School, Rogers School, and Barnum School scholarship funds. A motion by Mr. Conway, second by Ms. Martin, that we accept the communications and place on file. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. I don't know if anybody has any questions on the communications. Also under communications, Lowell Telecommunications Channel 10 broadcasts of school committee meetings live on the first and third Wednesday of the month, Thursdays at 6 p.m., Saturday and Sundays at 2 p.m., Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. Just before we conclude, Mr. Mayor, I was hoping we could get an update from the superintendent regarding the curriculum subcommittee. I know that I believe special ed subcommittee has already been rescheduled for another night, but because of the snow, we had gotten snowed out the other night, and I didn't know if we could talk about getting that rescheduled.
Thank you.
Madam Superintendent?
Thank you for the question. With regards to the timeline, although we've had 3 snow days, which have, obviously hindered our ability to meet with our stakeholder group and our committee, the due date, and the latest due date is January the 28th for the redesign team. I just have some concern to submit the design plan. I just have some concern because there won't be a full meeting of the school committee. So if, after reading the plan, any committee member wants to bring up any issues, if they could please attend the subcommittee meeting, because that is at this point, the date that it will be submitted. I thought we were going to have a report because we had the meeting scheduled, but so that our community knows the turnaround plan was approved. This redesign plan, again, is the detailed version of the turnaround plan, so there won't be any significant changes or anything of that nature. But I will have June poll the committee then tomorrow for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. What's the date of that subcommittee?
We're going to poll tomorrow,
Okay.
Mayor, for it, but we need this report by January 28th to the
28th, okay.
state, and I was just concerned because there wasn't another meeting, full meeting of the committee.
Thank you. Appreciate the update. Professional personnel, civil service, hearing nothing. Nothing else to come before the committee. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Leary, second by Mr. Conway. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote.
Shortest meeting, right? 7:19.